Hope you're enjoying our coverage of the Eastern Creek Triple Challenge meeting. Of course, the touring cars are now on the grid ready to go, and you're looking at the king of this series, actually, Peter Brock. Nice to have you aboard with us because, unfortunately, not in the car today, but you do join us in the commentary box. And this is the brand new package.
Yes, the new Falcon, and Glenn's got it on the front of the grid next to Wayne Gardner's new Commodore, so it's all working out very nicely for the motor racing's point of view.
We talk about the new VR Commodore. Unfortunately, Mark Scaife, the current touring car champion of Australia, had a very big accident here in the wet earlier in qualifying. He's still in hospital, but he is A-OK for those people all around Australia that have been flooding the switchboards here to find out how he is. But it did knock him about, and it was a big one. Today, Wayne Gardner had problems at the end of qualifying. Peter, he pulled up to do a burnout to warm up the tyres and just see how he goes off the line, and had a breakage.
Yes, practice start, broke the trunnion of the universal joint. That's the piece he's holding in his hand now. He's walking over, showing his mechanic, but of course that's repaired. That's okay now. It's back on deck.
So working for about an hour to replace that in the car. Gardner wasn't too unhappy about it. He's been very quick around here. He's taken the pole position. In fact, he holds the lap record here.
Yes, I was speaking to him earlier, and he said he's opted for some pretty sticky tyres. Races of short duration. This one's a 5-lapper. And who knows, it might work out for him. Then again, Glenn and Alan Jones have got a very good compound on that we've been testing earlier this year, or late last year, and I think that Glenn could be looking pretty good.
Checking out how they'll line up, as we mentioned, that Wayne Gardner took pole with a wonderful qualifying time of 1:33.929. Remember, Sydney's had a lot of water earlier this week. Glenn Seaton, for the first time in the first race of a Triple Challenge, hasn't qualified as the quickest car, so that's interesting. Alan Jones next. Jonesy was throwing it around. Neil Crompton, very good qualifying position from him in car 7. That's the other Coca-Cola car, of course. Then we have Jimmy Richards. A long way back for Jimmy Richards, and let's hope that he can get that car motoring. Of course, losing Scaife, that team has had to do a lot of extra work. Larry Perkins, he's also back a little bit. Greg Hansford and David Athart is there as well. Row 5 is Breeden Pearson. Row 6 is Finnegan and Stewart. Row 7, Georgi and Wilmington, Stromby and Conway on row 8. And Brown brings up the rear on row 9. So Wayne Gardner really does like this place. He handled it pretty well on a 500cc bike, and he's certainly doing a good job in the new bodied Holden. Now, is this exactly the same package as on your car?
Yes, it's particularly from the outward appearances point of view, with the single mounted rear wing and the rather a very stylish front spoiler. We've now got the radiator duct and the brake ducts sharing the same sort of air intake. It has a lip around the edge. We found it worked very well. It's Ford's, I suppose, surprisingly enough, is the same sort of front spoiler. It looks very similar, but quite a difference from the VP to the VR. You can now arrange all the airflow to the radiator, to the oil coolers and brake ducts very, very nicely. You can see that the brake ducts there closed off somewhat, very small orifice. But this isn't a hard track on brakes. It's very hard on tyres, particularly the right-hand front tyre at least. But a very sleek styling job. Looks great.
Our car looks sensational. Of course, that wing too is really up to Formula One standards.
Yes, we've got some guys now at HRT who have done their apprenticeship in that Formula One area, and it is truly Formula One standard. Sitting
beside him, Glenn Seaton, of course, car number 30, and that's the brand new Falcon package, and you'll see there's a lot of difference in that. It's a much more rounded car, and the airflow is so much better on this package too. They're beautifully turned out, the Tourers, and the new models just do look sensational. Okay, track distance 3.93 kilometres, 19.65 kilometres a race, and we're set to go. The first time we'll see the power come down, both getting away, crowd goes up. Seaton, really, Seaton gets it off the line big time now. Let's see, should win the drag into the first corner, comes across, takes it. AJ doing pretty well in second place, and Gardner shut it back into third. Larry Perkins on the move.
Yep, and I've watched Alan Jones practicing his starts early on, and he gets them very good here too. He really does.
He laid a big smoker down earlier and had the crowd all pumped up. He put rubber halfway down the straight. They pour through. It's the Peter Jackson team 1 and 2, and by gee, they've had success in this series over the years.
They just love this track, and the Falcon is very good, particularly this area they're coming into now, the right hand, left hand. The car changes direction beautifully. New tyre cases from Bridgestone. if they're working near as good as they do in our cars, well, they'll be fabulous to drive.
Team comes through, but here we go. It's still Glenn Seaton out in front, locks one up as he hits the ripple strip 2. Jonesy right in behind him. There's no team orders today. They're racing, no doubt about that. The 2 Coca-Cola cars doing a pretty good job. Gardner back in third. Remember, he was the fastest in qualifying. And just comes up under brakes, and there's got to be half a touch.
Well, that's so much for the new VR panels. It might be scraped already. But Wayne was telling me earlier that he is running a slightly softer compound than tyre than maybe the other guys are. So he should be very, very competitive over this short distance.
Neil Crompton just drops back maybe a length there. Watch the crowd come up as they blast their way down the straight for the first time. We'll get a good idea of horsepower now. The 2 Fords out in front. Wayne Gardner sits in third place. Then it's Crompton. Jimmy Richards is holding in there. Then the 2 Castrol cars come down. Seaton though. Oh, it's got plenty of bumbo. Haslerson comes down the straight, rips it through there, and Jonesy just stays with him, and he's riding shotgun at the moment.
Now, one of the reasons why these teams are electing to run the older model versus the new model is to do their homework to find out if there is truly equality between the older cars and new cars. So it's a very good way, I think, for CAMS to assess if they've done the sums right as far as homologation's concerned this year.
Well, there's been a lot of concern here as we watch AJ diving around behind his teammate Seaton, because this race was in some jeopardy because of the state of the track. At the end of the main straight, and we'll show you when they go through the sweeper this time around, because of the drag races, there's a lot of rubber build up and a lot of substance they put on the rubber to give the drag races some grip. And in the rain, that is very, very slippery, almost like ice. And that's the reason Scaife went off. They weren't very happy about the wall arrangement, and he ended up hitting a long way from where he went off the track. So there's been a lot of discussion about safety over the last 3 days here.
Yes, indeed, and I can assure you that something will happen. Speed needs to be washed off a little, but just watching the cars at the moment there, IG Seaton's working very hard behind the wheel, not to mention Alan Jones had a nice little lock-up game to the hairpin, but when you come down this straight, and as they're entering the straight now, you are presented with a right-angled corner when you're doing 260k. And as you get down into this area where you touch the brakes and perhaps put it back into fifth, and it's in about 100 metres now, Glenn, we're looking at touching the brakes. When it's wet, this drag surface is absolutely slick. And of course, you can see the road in the foreground there. The cars go straight down there, confronted with a concrete blockade in front of you. And it really isn't a matter of driving skill or whatever. You know, you are a passenger in the car in those conditions. So we need some areas to wash off that speed, and that is being done.
No doubt about that. Some big meetings right throughout the day. Come back to the racing now. Glenn Seaton, there it is. Jones, Gardner, Crompton and Richards. That's the order for you. Glenn Seaton in the brand new Ford. Gee, it's a pretty package, isn't it? Sits nice and wide and squat on the road. All new 3/4 panels and right back from the roofline. New roofline on it. The wing and the front spoilers. So there's a lot of difference in this package, a la the Holden.
Absolutely. And, you know, if you're going to use motor racing as a marketing exercise, as a means of conveying to the general public your latest wares, well, this is the way to go. You're running the latest car. They look great. We're very excited about racing them. I mean, sitting back here as a racer, I certainly feel a bit twitchy watching them. I can assure you, Darryl, I'd love to be out there.
Seaton, fantastic success. He's never been beaten in this series. He's won every time the Triple Challenge has been held. AJ would love to pinch it off him. Sits in behind now. Gardner with a different compound. Went for a stickier compound. He's hanging on pretty well.
He's hanging on fantastically well. He's not getting sideways. He's maybe a little bit out of shape on a couple of those tighter corners, but that's Wayne's driving style. I mean, he rode the motorbike like that, and that's the way he drives his cars.
Our crowd goes up in front. AJ slams past our broadcast box in behind Seaton now. Car 30 leads. Now Jonesy gets right in behind him. Gardner's not lost nothing down the straight. He sits right in behind AJ, but the two PJ cars at the moment under control. Each lap there, Seaton's locked it up. Jonesy dives up underneath him.
Jonesy looking at that thinking, now boss, you're leaving the gate wide open and I'm going to come through any second now.
He's locked up in the new car every time in the same spot there.
Yes, well, according to Alan, he's not particularly happy with his new car at the moment. Needs a little bit of fine-tuning. But first up, of course, is a fabulous effort to get a car out like this.
AJ sits in second place seat, and as I've said, has never been beaten in this series. He loves the track, he loves the series, and he'd like to keep the record that way too, that the PJ car goes home with the trophy again from the Winfield Triple Challenge. Gardner's done a terrific job back in third place, did have pole position, but took a choice of rubber that Peter and I were talking about before this race started, a very soft compound, and they've hung in pretty well.
Well, I see that they're lapping about the 34.6, 34.7 mark. Gardner equaling that sort of time. Larry sitting back there now, perhaps going a little faster at the end of this race. Although Jones is, he's an aggressive guy, this Alan Jones. He doesn't give in very easily at all.
No, he loves to race, AJ. Down they come now for the final time. They'll take the flag. It's going to be Glenn Seaton. Jonesy sits in behind him. The crowd go up. Seaton's got a big fan club here today. So it's the first win for the brand new Ford. And he's done it here at Eastern Creek, a place that he just loves to drive and race on. And he's kept his record intact. Fantastic from Glenn Seaton. AJ Alan Jones in second place in the second PJ car. And Wayne Gardner in the brand new VR Holden in third place. Recapping the first of the touring races here today, Glenn Seaton in the brand new Falcon EF. He takes a win first up, and that's a good result for him. Alan Jones backs it up with a solid second place in the older of the Falcon cars. Wayne Gardner, good job with his brand new VR for the first time. Neil Crompton and Larry Perkins on the charge. A lot more to come from the tourers later on throughout the day. Right now, let's go pit side with Andrew Voss.
Well, a Quinella for the Peter Jackson team, starting with you, Glenn. I guess not having pole position, a point to prove in race one.
Yeah, well, naturally I'm here to win my fourth Triple Challenge, and also Alan's here to win his first, and at this stage it's taken off well, so I just hope I can get a good start in the second one. And we're both on the front row for the second one, so it is a good start for the weekend.
AJ, you kept him honest for the entire 5 laps.
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. It was a good opportunity to see the new car working. And we're learning some really good and valuable lessons this weekend comparing the two cars, so it will be good for Sandown, hopefully.
It's a quick call between races in this situation and the Triple Challenge. Not much time to get a whole lot done.
No, just a time for a quick drink and back into it again.
Keep up the battle all day, guys.